There are multiple ways to view the attached hard disks. The easiest and most convenient way is to use the lsblk command. This command provides information about all connected block devices. In the output, this column shows the type of the block device. For example, it is a hard disk. These are the standard partitions. These are the advanced partitions. These partitions are created on this disk. This column shows the size of the block device. For example, the size of this disk is 30 GB. This column shows the name of the block device. A system can have multiple disks. Linux assigns an identification letter to each disk. It uses a combination of hard disk type and a letter or a number to generate a unique combination for each detected disk. There are many types of hard disks. IDE, SATA, and NVMe Express are the most commonly used hard disk types. It respectively uses the letters HD, SD, and NVM for IDE, SATA, and NVMe hard disks. After the disk type, it uses alphabet letters in ascending order as identification letters. For example, it uses the letter A for the first detected disk. For the second detected disk, it uses the letter B. For the third detected disk, it uses the letter C, and so on for all subsequent disks. The only exception to this convention is the NVMe Express disk type. For it, Linux uses numbers instead of letters to identify disks. For the first disk, it uses 0. For the second disk, it uses 1, and so on. These columns provide additional information that is not relevant to this exercise. If you want to know the information these columns provide, you can use the help option with this command. When you use the help option with this command, it lists the description of all columns it can have in the output. In disk management related exercises, we create and delete partitions. Since this disk contains the operating system, we cannot use it to perform disk management related exercises. But we can attach new hard disks and use them. Let us understand how to attach 2 new hard disks to this virtual machine. We cannot change the hardware configuration of a running system. Shut down the system to attach new hard disks. I use the VMware workstation to set up a practice lab for our HCE exam topics. I will use the Server 1 system of this lab to perform all disk management related exercises. Click Edit Virtual Machine Settings. It opens Virtual Machine Settings in a new window. On the open window, the left pane shows the current hardware devices of the virtual machine. The right pane shows the information and options about the selected device in the left pane. The Add button available in the left pane allows us to add a new device to the virtual machine. Click the Add button available in the left pane. It opens a new wizard. On the open wizard, select Hard Disk and click Next. The next screen allows us to select the hard disk type. There are 4 types of hard disks: SCSI, IDE, SATA, and NVMe. SCSI uses a SCSI cable. It offers a data transfer speed of 80 megabits per second. IDE is also known as PATA. It uses an IDE cable. It provides a maximum data transfer speed of 133 megabits per second. SATA uses a SATA cable. It provides a maximum data transfer speed of 6 gigabits per second. NVMe uses an onboard slot known as M.2. It provides a maximum data transfer speed of 32 gigabits per second. If your system does not have a M.2 slot, VMware will not display this option. SCSI and IDE are no longer used in personal computers to save data. Unless you have any specific reason to use these types, you should avoid these types. If the NVMe type is available, you should always use it. If it is not available, you can use SATA. Since the NVMe option is available, we will use it to create an NVMe hard disk. We will use the SATA option to create the second hard disk. Select the NVMe option and click Next. The next screen has 3 options. Create a new virtual disk, use an existing virtual disk and use a physical disk. The first option creates a new virtual disk. The second option allows us to reuse an existing hard disk. The third option allows us to access the physical disk. To create a new hard disk, we will use the first option. The next screen allows us to specify the hard disk size, disk space allocation method, and how we want to save the disk file. Let us understand these options. To specify the hard disk size, we have an input box with up and down arrow keys. The input box allows us to type the hard disk size. The up and down arrow keys allow us to adjust the type size and block size. VMware can allocate disk space in 2 ways, immediately and gradually as per requirement. If we select this checkbox, it allocates all the disk space immediately. If we do not select this checkbox, it allocates a very small portion of the disk size and adds more space when we add data to the disk. Let us take an example. Suppose we specify the hard disk size to 20 gigabytes. If we select this option, it will allocate all 20 GB right now. But if we do not select this option, it will allocate only 2 to 3 GB space now. It will add more space when we add data to this disk. Suppose, we added 2 GB of data to the hard disk. Then, it will expand the hard disk size to 5 GB. Similarly, it will increase the hard disk size again when the specified disk space is close to fill. It will repeat this process until it reaches the maximum specified size, which is 20 GB in this case. There are 2 ways to store a virtual hard disk. Store virtual disk as a single file and split virtual disk into multiple files. If we use the first option, it will store the hard disk as a single file. The file size depends on the size of the hard disk we create. We can use this option if we have no intention to move this hard disk out of the host system. If we use the second option, it will store the hard disk in multiple small-sized files. This option allows us to easily move the hard disk to another system using a USB drive. Let us take an example. Suppose, we add a 20 GB hard disk. The first option will create a single 20 GB file to store this disk. The second option will create 10 files of 2 GB. Moving a single 20 GB file is a bit more difficult than moving 10 files of 2 GB. To move a 20 GB file, you need a 20 GB or bigger USB drive. However, to move a 2 GB file, you only need a 2 GB or bigger USB drive. To perform partitions and file systems related exercises, we do not need a bigger size disk. A 4 GB disk will be sufficient to perform all exercises. We can also select these options to improve the performance of this disk. The last screen of the wizard allows us to customize the hard disk file location. To store the hard disk file in a specific location, click the Browse option and select the folder you want to use to save the file. Click Finish to close the wizard. The wizard will create and attach a new hard disk to the system. The new hard disk will be listed on the right pane of the settings window. Let us add one more hard disk. This time select the SATA hard disk. Select the Create New Hard Disk option. Set the size to 4 GB and select these options. Select the folder in which you want to save this hard disk. Click Finish to close the wizard. Wait till the wizard creates and attaches the new hard disk to the system. The wizard will list the new hard disk in the left pane. Now, start the virtual machine. If the system does not start after adding the new hard disks, you need to adjust the boot device priority. Restart the system and press F2 to open BIOS. In BIOS, move to the boot menu. In the boot menu, expand the hard drive option. Move the hard disk that contains the operating system up. These are the hard disks that we have just added. These hard disks are blanks. We need to move these hard disks down. Now save the configuration and restart the system. As we can see here, now the system is booting from the disk containing the operating system. We cannot use a regular user account to perform disk management related exercises. These exercises need root privilege. Log in from the root account. After login, first, we need to verify the new attached hard disks. For this, we can use the lsblk command again. Open a new terminal and run this command. As we can see here, now the system has 3 hard disks. These are recently attached hard disks. We can use these hard disks to complete disk management related exercises. After doing all the exercises, we can easily remove these hard disks. To remove these hard disks, first, we need to power off the system. Now open the Edit Virtual Machine Settings window again. Select the first hard disk you created to perform disk management related exercises and click the Remove button. Repeat the process to remove the second hard disk. After removing both hard disks, close the Virtual Machine Settings window. Start the virtual machine again to verify the existing system is intact. Log in from the root account again. To verify the attached disks, we can use the lsblk command again. Run the lsblk command again. As we can see here, now the system has the original disk only. The additional disks that we added to perform disk management related exercises have gone. If you need them again, you can easily add them by following this process again. You can add or remove virtual disks any number of times. That's all for this video. If you have any suggestions, comments, or feedback about this video, please share them in the comment section given below.